So, hey, we are here with Ryan Achenbach. Did I get the name right?
You did.
All right. He is a personal trainer over at Valley
Strength and Fitness.
Valley Strength and Fitness.
We're struggling today.
Yeah. He is also voted the best personal trainer in Happy Valley.
Woo!
Yeah. So you're going for your
Congrats.
second year in a row this year, right?
Oh, yeah. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So how do you make the transition from, because I know everybody's story is different as far as how they get into doing personal training.
Yeah.
How did you get into fitness in general, and then how did you turn your fitness into something to help other people?
So I started lifting weights when I was 12 and a half. In grade school, I got in trouble a lot. And one day my dad said, if you don't get in trouble for, and you get good grades for about I think it was 3 months or something, I'm going to buy you a surprise. I said, great. So,
You didn't know what it was.
Yeah, didn't know what it was. So
You're like, it could be anything.
It could be a Nintendo. Where's this going?
It could
That's
be
what
a
I'm thinking,
book.
yeah.
It could be a trip to Disneyland.
Yeah.
And so, I got good grades, didn't, act up in class and whatnot. And he takes me to Sports Authority or Big Five, whatever it was at the time, and loads a box in the back and get home.
Yeah.
And it's a set of weights. I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't lift weights. He didn't lift the weights either.
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't either?
No.
Oh.
And
so it's not like a shared
it wasn't a
interest
shared, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so he's just like, have at it. And I'm, what am I supposed to do with this? And so he's like, well, you just lift them. Okay. So I'm like,
Thank you.
thanks, trying to do curls and stuff. And so I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And he belonged to an athletic club at the time. So he said, well, I'll set you up with an appointment with a trainer. So
Oh, that's awesome.
So at an appointment with the trainer, I said, I'm just training at home. I have no equipment. So he's like, okay, well, you can lay on the side of the couch and just bench press this dumbbell here. And I had these old school dumbbells where there's the sleeve, and then there's tools like this, there's a little ratchet,
Yeah.
and it would just hold on by pressure. And I remember bench pressing like this, didn't tighten it good enough, and then all the weights fell in my face,
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
yeah. So I ended up taking a liking to it, and then actually that would be my punishment if I got in trouble at school or whatnot. He would take my weights away.
Oh.
Yeah. And so then I would.
I thought you were going to say he'd make you do extra reps or something.
It's interesting that you took a liking to it right away, because a lot of people, I think tons of people have gotten some sort of shake weight or something offline. I'm going to use this,
Sure.
and this is going to be my starting point to my new life, and it goes into the garbage, or it's collecting dust in the corner.
Right. Yeah, I just really got into it. I could see the changes in my body happening, and I was just self-taught. I remember when I was young, I would ride my bike to the library about 2 miles away, load my backpack up full of books that Arnold Schwarzenegger had and whatnot, and then just self-taught myself how to do these things, put together my own workout routines, and then. Yeah.
It's another thing kids don't do these days. They go on TikTok and they're like, oh, I'm going to listen to this influencer tell me how to work out.
Sure.
And then the next guy that they flip to is telling them the opposite thing.
Right. Yeah. A lot of misinformation out there on weightlifting techniques and the most effective things.
So did you like the bodybuilding aspect of it? Arnold, and a lot of them were kind of the start of it.
Sure.
And is that what you attracted you to the bodybuilding side of things, is getting to that level?
Yeah. Arnold was influence for a lot of people. Seeing Terminator 2 as a kid was great, and just I want to be like that, right?
So how many times did you do the Conan pose, with the sword as a kid? And
a lot.
Oh yeah,
a lot. Yeah.
What's the Conan pose?
So Conan the Barbarian. Yeah,
Okay.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. He had this big old claymore sword. He would do this.
I've never
pose.
seen it, by the way.
Yeah, I'm
I've
surprised it's not an actual pose that they do in when they go on do the competitions, because you got the one where you look like you're doing the archer and stuff like that. You seen those?
No. I live under a rock.
So Arnold was a big influence as far as how you grew. Is that how you, when you when you came into it, is that what his books were teaching? Was that how you kind of progressed? And did you ever kind of deviate from that?
Yeah, no, I copied his routines to a T.
Wow.
I remember in high school doing book reports on like the biography of like Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
Here people are carrying in books of these other political
the Hulk.
figures. Yeah, the Hulk.
Oh, thank you.
Original-
I was like, I've heard
Yeah.
the name before.
Yeah.
I gotta
And
brush up on
Yeah.
my
The original Hulk, non CGI.
non-CGI.
Yeah.
So he had to like do the
Yeah,
actual
he had to
work.
do the work. Yeah.
Okay.
Bill Bixby back in the day as Bruce Banner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I remember people bringing in books on these political figures doing biographies, and here I am. I have Lou Ferrigno on the cover of the book, and he's shirtless, and everyone's looking at me like, "What are you bringing in here?"
You're like, no, I promise, it's good. It's good. You just hear me out.
So yeah, I just became obsessed at a young age with. I'm really, you can really shape the body, and it's all just done through hard work, and
Yeah.
I got really motivated by that.
Now, as you progress, you reach plateaus.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm sure you've reached those a couple of
I
times.
hate plateaus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they suck.
They suck. It's like I suck. These suck. I don't
Yeah.
want to do it anymore.
Yeah, it's and then as you get older, then all of a sudden you start kind of going backwards. You're not as strong as you used to be, and so you have to do a mindset
Wait, how old are you?
shift.
How old are you?
How old do I look?
Like
25.
Asian don't raisin, right? So, yeah.
I've never heard that.
I'm 40.
What?
What?
Yeah, I turned 40 in last September.
Okay, so
84.
turning 40 for a girl and turning 40 for a guy, not the same thing. and it's, I mean, on the girl end, it's rude. Like all I can say, I keep joking, but there's actual, like, I'm being serious. I'm like, something happened. I turned 40, a flip switched, and everything started breaking. Your muscle mass starts breaking down. You sleep like crap. You all of a sudden, like, it's rude. That's
Yeah.
not my
Guy
favorite.
turns 40. I gotta get like a.
You get your second wind all of a sudden.
I've
You
got to
turn
get
40.
a convertible. I'll get a
I get to have a
Sebring
midlife
or something
crisis.
like that.
So no, and you don't look 40. So
Thank
good
you.
on you.
Yeah.
That's
Good on
good. But the working out also helps with that too.
Working out, sleep, and
Yeah.
and eating
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, those are great things that affect women at 40. So great, highly recommend it. 10 out of 10 stars.
So you got into through high school. You kind of obsessed with Arnold.
Yeah.
So how to go after that is turning into like an actual job.
So after high school, I thought, okay, well, I'll become a personal trainer. So backtrack a little bit. I actually, in high school, I was a sponsored teenage bodybuilder.
Cool.
And so I never got the chance to compete, but I was getting like sponsorship money to pay for my gym, supplements and whatnot. And I had a contract to go down to Florida and train with some pro bodybuilders and
Oh, cool.
try and work my way up the ranks. That never happened. My sponsor ended up getting cancer 3 months before I was going to leave and go to Florida. So that fell through. So and I actually went into kindergarten year early. So I graduated when I was 17.
Okay.
And so once I graduated, I was like, well, I like the gym, or I like working out. And most of my whole time I was working out at home. And so I only worked out at a gym about a year before I graduated. But I was
So there's the whole world opened up to you as far as different machines.
different machines,
Yeah.
and a whole nother environment. And so I thought, okay, I'll become a personal trainer. And at 18, you're just not mature enough to be a personal trainer. And I realized, okay, like I like the working out, but I have no clue how to train a 50-year-old, 60-year-old person. I just like, oh yeah, work out arms and just grind them into the ground like I do my workouts, right? No.
Yeah.
And so from there, I worked various jobs. I was a bouncer downtown for 6 or 7 years.
I mean, you got the muscle for it.
Yeah,
so,
so,
yeah, it fits.
So I was able to do that, and then I was a manager of a warehouse for about 7 years also. And then I was making good money doing that, but I was feeling very unfulfilled at the end of the day. And so I thought, and at that time I was doing MMA, and I was sustaining a lot of injuries, and I had sustained injuries from lifting weights, and so I thought and I was going to physical therapy at that time, and I thought, wow, like you really can't put a price on pain relief. And
Yeah.
and so I thought, okay, I'm going to go to school to become a physical therapy assistant. So I went to started going to college, and for that, and then I was like, well, I need to make money.
How old are you at this point?
I'm in my mid 20s.
Okay.
So I said I need to make money. While I'm doing that, I'll go back to personal training because that can revolve around my school.
Mm-hmm.
So I started personal training, and I started working at LA Fitness, 24-hour fitness, and got my associate's transfer degree, and I got all my prereqs for physical therapy assistant. But at the end of that, I was making more working for 24-hour fitness than I would be at the median income of physical therapy assistant.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I worked a lot.
Yeah.
My last 2 years working at 24-hour fitness, I worked 7 days a week, and I took 0 days off except for Thanksgiving and Christmas when the gym was closed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did it feel like work?
It didn't.
Okay.
And
I think that's the key.
yeah.
Like you can work 7 days a week and like absolutely hate what you do and it feels like work, or you can, go
Well,
7 days a week doing
'Cause
something you love.
average people, they go to the gym for an hour and they leave.
Yeah.
But if you're a trainer or people who are like gym rats, they hang out at the gym all day, even if they're not working.
Yeah.
Or lifting weights. It's
They just hang out?
It's a well, yeah, because you're talking with other people. Or,
Okay.
So it's kind of like a club.
I'm
Yeah.
like, I have places to go. I'm 40 and I have 4 kids. So actually I'm 43, but
You didn't have to say that. But
well, I mean, people know it's not a secret.
so,
Anyway.
yeah.
So yeah, a lot of my clients train a lot of business owners, and they really pushed me into to opening up my own gym. And so I said, wow, if I can work 7 days a week, working for a corporation, I can definitely do this on my own. And so I ended up taking the leap, and in 2019 opened up my gym in February 2019. And so worked. That was had my gym open for about a year, and then March 2020 happened.
Yeah, I was going to say, how'd that go?
I made it.
Yeah. That's what everybody said.
yeah.
Well, I made it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we know there's a lot of gyms that like, it's great, I'm just going to do it. We have to deal with people's mental health and physical health, and that's just one less thing. We'll open up our garage doors and we'll just do it outside.
Yeah.
Our daughter actually was doing conditioning and volleyball training at a place here in Salem that trains like teenage athletes. And the owner wound up being very vocal in a great way to us, being very vocal and saying like, look, there's all these mandates that are saying we need to shut down. I think it's harming the kids with like their mental health and everything. Like these kids need an outlet, especially at this age and everything. So he got to the point where he was going on social media and saying stuff along the lines of like, I'm going to promise you and your kids, I'm not closing. They can hit me with as many fines as they want. He's like, we'll do everything basically to like follow protocol as much as we can. But at the same time, like your kids' mental health trumps these mandates right now.
Yeah.
And so, I think they had a huge number of people start following along with them and that sort of thing, which we thought was amazing from a parent standpoint, watching your kid, especially having a teenager and seeing the impact that had. So,
yeah.
Well, I'm glad it's behind us.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
So you survived 2020.
Yeah. Survived 2020. Did a combination of training people outside, at their house, and but my gym was supposed to be closed, and so during that time I took up a second job, and so I was still training people at like 5:30 in the morning, work until about noon, and then one of my clients has a courier business, and one of the routes he had was picking up at different on points and title companies, Tycor, Berkshire Hathaway, and so then I'd work my gym from 5:30 in the morning to 12, and training people going to their houses. And then at about 5 o'clock, I'd go drive 180 miles in town in my own car to picking up at about 20 different on points, and then the rest credit unions. And then my route, this is 2020, ending downtown about 4 blocks from the Justice Center where everything's going on. At midnight is when I would be ending. So I'd be listening to news radio, and they'd be like, avoid downtown. And I'm like,
you're like, you mean where I'm driving?
Yeah,
right
where I'm driving. Yeah. So that was great. Just hoping that I don't get stuck downtown and a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, your stress level had to have been up to here.
Oh yeah.
But he works out. It's maintained. Like he
You'd have to work out.
That time I was just trying to squeak workouts in because I'm getting increments of 4 hours of sleep, working 5:30 to noon, going home, sleeping for a few hours, going out and driving for 5 hours at night, getting home about midnight, sleeping for a couple hours, and then waking up again, training people at 5:30 in the morning.
So no recovery time.
No recovery time. Yeah. Yeah. But I was like, I have to do what I have to do because, I mean, I just opened up my gym and I'm not going to be one of those people that loses their business.
Yeah, it's always sad to see, like, there's a gym closed because all of a sudden you go on Facebook Marketplace, it's like, here's all of our equipment for sale. I was like, oh.
Right.
Yeah, it's sad to see that because, they put so much work into building all that up to that point and then have it all crash down just because the shift in, like, where people are at with, working out now or just, rules and regulations that come through.
Yeah.
Did you ever shift to any of, like, the virtual type training stuff at all?
I never did, and I don't do virtual just because I find it too hard.
Yeah.
People having to set up the camera at the right angle, and then what am I really doing? Like, push harder. Like,
you got this.
You got this. Yeah.
One more.
There's a lag, and they're like halfway, like, no, push through it. And it's like, oh no, it's disconnected. Never mind.
So I'm not a huge proponent of virtual training. I know there's lots of trainers that do it and they're very successful, but I'm a more hands-on person, and I want to be able to push you and spot you if you need it.
So the social media aspect of fitness is really interesting to me because you see all these fitness influencers and everything like that are out there. And I started seeing this trend for a period of time where it was longtime trainers were coming on and basically saying, like, look, you're getting really bad advice from some of these people, and let me show you an example. And it was wild. It would be like scene after scene after scene of these different influencers, and they would literally have the same script saying, like, okay, so I found this thing, and it was like verbatim. You could just flip from one to the other, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what's going on? And so, or it was talking about, like, bad advice that they were giving, like, you're really going to hurt yourself if you do. So it's one of those things, like, social media seems so easy to turn to for your resource, but if you turn to the wrong place, it can actually be really detrimental.
Yeah, there's some really good ones that I follow that seem credible.
Yeah.
But there's also the ones that, like, because everybody's scroll, you got 2 seconds to catch them, they're willing to do whatever it takes to keep you for that 2 seconds. And they'll say something shocking or totally off base just so they can get the likes, or they can get the comments saying, hey, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it's what's frustrating right now with people. It's like, as we were talking, like, when you're a kid, you went to the library to find out about building, bodybuilding. Now kids are scrolling through, or anybody's scrolling through, like, how do I do this? I think I looked up how much money people spend a year on fitness in general. It's like nutrition and gadgets they've bought, or going to the gym or something, and it's a huge amount. We're like number one in the world for the amount of money we spend on the fitness industry, but we're dead last as far as the Western world, as far as where we should be in health-wise.
Where's the breakdown here?
Yeah. And so I think a lot of it is they're spending money on the wrong things.
Yeah.
They're spending money on. Someone told me that this is going to fix everything. If I take this pill, it will help out. If I take, we're talking about the shake weights.
Yeah.
It was so ridiculous when you saw those things come online, but people bought them up. They're like, I could do that. I think I can do that. And that guy's got a 6-pack, and he's sitting there rolling with these shake weights in each hand. It's like, I want to look like that. So this is apparently the fix. And it's such it's like, oh, $30. I'll do that. And then next week they're buying something else.
It plays into your vulnerability.
Yeah. It's like, I think people end up spending about $800 a month on average on some sort of fitness type thing, for healthy thing for them, as far as like a national average. So some people spend zero, some people spend a huge amount. So that's where that $800 average comes out, where it's like, what can you be putting your money into fitness wise that will give you the best bang for your buck? Mm-hmm. And I think when we talk about your personal training, one thing is I think there's a stigma with personal training. People think if I call a personal trainer, they're going to think that I'm too weak to do it myself, or I don't know what I'm doing. It's almost like when, you and your wife go into Home Depot and she's like, no, you need to talk to them. They'll tell you where to go. Like, no. I know where to go. I don't need any help. You're like, I think you should talk to someone. They know where to go. Like, no, I'm.
Okay, can we just, hold on. I have to, like a perfect example of this.
Yeah.
So our electrical panel caught on fire.
Okay.
And so we ran out of power. Not ran out. We had no power. So we have, thank goodness, my brother knew this electrician. He called him up for us. And he was like, hey, my sister's house. It's on Saturday. And it's the day before we're supposed to host all the seniors at our house for our daughter's class and have a big Christmas party. We have no power. And so he winds up coming out and he's like, okay, I'm working on this. He goes, I need you to go to Home Depot and get this thing. And we're like, okay. Oh, no, he wasn't there yet. He called and he's like, before I get there, go get this thing at Home Depot. He tells us exactly what it is. And we're like, okay, that's great. So Brian goes in and grabs it. He comes back. The guy shows up and he looks at it and he's like,
it was circuit breakers.
Yeah. This is literally not what I told you to get. And I was like, what? And I was like, why would the guy at Home Depot tell you to get this? And you could just see the look on Brian's face going, and I'm like, you didn't ask him? He's like, well, no, I figured it was all the same. And the guy is like, so I told you the exact one to get. So here at like 5 o'clock now, we've been without power since 9 o'clock. I'm driving back into Salem. But then it proved me wrong because I walked up to the guy and I was like, hey, this is what I'm looking for. He's like, yeah, I don't think we carry those. And I'm like, really? Because on your website it says that we do. And I was like, okay, I get why he didn't ask it. But this was like the one, like...
Yeah.
The one instance.
The one time.
And I'd even take him back to get it. We just like, oh, screw it. We'll keep him for later. Yeah. But it goes to my point. It's like how many people are buying stuff like, oh, that didn't work. Oh, screw it. I'll just, let's go into Goodwill now.
Yeah.
And so when the personal training part comes up is like people, and I think it's guys especially, they're too proud to like ask for help.
Sure.
You've probably experienced that when you worked at like 24-hour fitness. People come in like, I want a gym membership. Like, let me show you around. Like, no. I'm good. I got this. And and they're trying to figure out how to use some machine. It's like, I can help you with that.
Right.
So you just keep walking by like,
and eventually people just get, frustrated that they can't do it. They don't want to ask for help. So they, screw it. I'm just not going to do it at all.
And the way that I would get a lot of clients at those gyms would actually be I'd see somebody doing something incorrect and I already know I can help them. And so I'd approach them and for example, I'd see someone like doing a curl on an incline bench and they're doing it wrong. And I'd say, hey man, I noticed you're doing it this way, any particular reason, and they're doing it wrong. And they'd be like, oh, I don't know, like, I saw Arnold doing it. And it's like, okay, number one, you're not Arnold. So,
and you're lying because I know what Arnold does. He doesn't do that.
He doesn't do that. And so I would just fix them and I'd be like, do you feel it different? And they'd say, yeah. And then I would get them to be able to book a consult. Okay, I can show you more. And that would usually pique their interest.
So you work with a ton of clients. We talked about this. I think your youngest is 12.
Yeah, 12.
And then your oldest is like 70...
74, 75. Yeah.
That's a big, broad range to be able to change gears. I mean, there is some trainers that work with a specific type of person who's either like, they work with bodybuilders. And so they know exactly what they're going to do. But you have to change gears with every client. Like, I know this person can handle this. This person maybe has bad knees. They can't do this exercise. Yeah. That's got to be a little tough for you to be able to navigate, and you got to keep like probably really good notes on these people.
Yeah, I'm a pen and paper person, so I have like big thick files on my clients. Lots of people now do it digital. I'm just again pen and paper, so I do keep lots of notes. I write every workout down. That's one thing that bugs the crap out of me with trainers is if you've been a trainer long enough, you can just can I cuss? Bullshit.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah.
Well, they just
go beep.
I'll go beep. Oops, I missed it. Damn it.
They can just bullshit a routine off the top of their head, and I can do that, right? And I can give you a good workout. But I've overheard so many conversations when I've worked with other trainers of their client, be like, man, I'm feeling really strong. How much was I lifting on my, a month ago? And they're like, I don't know. It's like, dude, all our job is we're professional rep counters and spotters. So like all you need to do is just keep notes. And that's one thing that bugs the crap out of me. So I love it. I love being able to keep this big, thick file folder and be able to pull back. Like, what was I lifting on my first day? I mean, this is what we were lifting on our first day.
Yeah.
And I'm a trainer that actually writes like, this is how hard this person's pushing on this. Do I need to go up weight on this? And so like this, you were lifting 100 pounds when you first came in, and this was at 100% effort. Now look at us.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't do that. Personally, they don't do that. They just they don't keep track of it. Where am I at with day one? What are my measurements at? And they don't do that. And they just say, why am I gaining weight on the scale?
Yeah.
And then, it feels like it might have been making progress or not making progress. And so that's when I think a lot of people fall off the bandwagon with that, is because they're not keeping track. They're not setting small goals. They're going from here to 100.
Yeah.
And if they don't get to 100 by day 60, they quit.
Yeah. And lots of my clients are people that don't want to have to take notes. And so, but that's my job. That's why they hire me, right? If you are not a person that's not going to be able to meal prep, you're going to have to hire a service to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but yeah, fail to plan, fail to succeed, right? And that's where so many people get it wrong, and they're just they maybe met a trainer one time, that trainer gave them a routine, and they're using the same weights and the same exercises, not mixing it up a year later. Yeah. They wonder, why haven't I progressed, right?
Yeah.
And that's because they don't know how to progress themselves. That's why they need to hire a trainer.
So you touched on meal prep.
Yeah.
At what point, in your opinion, should people start thinking more about what their fuel is for their body on like the first day of like just learning how to do the work, or is it a certain point you say now we need to like shift gears and start adding something into it?
So most of my clients come to me to lose weight, and I always tell them, if you're just maintaining your current diet and eating the same like you have been, and you've been maintaining your weight for X amount of time, just coming into the gym and moving more, you're going to be able to drop weight just by the added extra activity, right? But eventually that's going to plateau. Yeah. Then we need to really start calculating in the calories, because it's all about going to be calories in, calories out. The down and upside of training is the more you're working out, the hungrier I'm going to be, because my body needs fuel, right? So that doesn't mean, I get to eat more now because I'm working out, right?
Yeah.
And so that's again where training will come in. Although trainers are not dietitians, so we're not supposed to be writing out meal plans for people. Okay. We can write guidelines.
Oh,
right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
I've seen
lots of people do that.
Oh.
Yeah, but you're not unless you're a registered dietitian, you shouldn't be doing that.
I did not realize, because I've seen people that'll advertise, hey, I have this training program and everything like that, and I will provide you a meal plan and tell you exactly what to eat.
And most of those times they're just cookie cutter, and that's another thing that pisses me off when I see that.
Can you get in trouble for doing that?
No, probably not. Okay. You don't even need to be. There's no law saying that you need to be certified to be a trainer. Do you think
I could just tomorrow be like, congrats.
Yeah.
That's like saying you're a life coach.
A lot of the
nothing against life coaches, but I'm saying like the actual legitimate people that are trained in teaching you how to put certain things in place, get rid of bad habits, and they have the psychology behind it to support their decisions. Those people are phenomenal. And I think they're worth their weight in gold.
Yeah.
But you need absolutely nothing to be able to call yourself a life coach.
Yeah.
And I think those
you just
are
have to look like you have your shit together.
Well, and I'm not knocking people that are, everybody has to start somewhere, but like the people who just, I think the term gets abused a lot, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I think for personal trainers, it's like you have a pressure, like I need to look a certain way, or else the clients won't think that I'm, certified to do what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yes and no, right? So some people actually get intimidated by that.
Okay.
Some people think this person's like super jacked, and so they'll get intimidated. And then a lot of them will want to work out with a more a person that looks more like them, right? And I think that's a disservice. I've had that work for and against me. I've had people choose me because they're like, and I've had women choose me because they're saying like, I'm afraid that a woman's going to go too easy on me, and so I just want to be pushed really hard. And then I've heard feedback from people that they were intimidated by you because you look too big or you're too in shape.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, But on my website, I have pictures of me when I've let my diet slack and I've gotten fat, and then I've lost the weight. So it's like we're all human, right?
It's like, hey, which one do you want me to show you?
right, exactly. Yes. So yeah.
So your gym is also set up. I saw some photos of your gym. It's more there's the corporate like workout places like our color. You go to like Planet Fitness, it's purple everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. You go to some of the places, it's green everything. It's very corporate. Like this is a gym and everything's got to match. But you put some of yourself into your gym.
Yeah.
And tell us about how you kind of set your gym up for, to kind of not only just appeal to people, again, make them feel comfortable.
Well, so speaking of those corporate gyms, right when you walk in, what is one of the first things that you see at the counter?
A little scan thing.
The scan thing,
Yeah.
but it's supplements.
Oh yeah.
They're trying to sell you supplements, right?
From the second you walk in.
From the second you walk in,
Yeah.
right? So I don't have any supplements at my gym.
Okay.
So my gym is more kind of movie themed. So I had some movie posters and whatnot in my gym. I sent you a picture of those license plates. I don't know if you saw that or could guess what movies those were from.
I didn't look at that one yet, but I have to check that out.
But I figure it's a commonality between anybody, whatever your background is, your political affiliation, whatever. Everyone can agree that Princess Bride is a great movie. If you don't think that's a good movie, I don't want you in my I don't want you in my gym.
Okay,
right?
so Die Hard, Christmas movie or not Christmas movie?
It's a Christmas movie.
Oh, really?
It's a Christmas movie.
That's like the ultimate like.
There's snow.
Is it,
Yeah.
Didn't Bruce Willis come out and say it's not a Christmas movie? I feel like he
Did he?
did. He did. There
Okay.
was like he was doing some sort of speech and he was like, and in conclusion, Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. And so it's like it's been answered literally by Bruce Willis.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would want those that extra revenue during Christmas time. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
so you're a gym buff and you're a movie buff. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Those the Arnold movies kind of fueled you to kind of put. I mean, it's nice because you had a home set up as a kid, so you can watch a movie on your TV.
I would actually do that. I would actually have movies playing and work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta get that feel. I mean, now you're probably like listening to like what kind of music you listen to when you work out?
I work out to EDM music, so
Oh.
a little different than Arnold, but
It's like techno type stuff.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
like that.
yes,
So you're pumping to the beat, right?
yes, yeah.
Our daughter had to tell me what that was. She was talking because she was going out to work out, and I'm like, "What kind of music are you listening to?" She's like, "A little bit of EDM," and I was like, "What's that now?"
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh my gosh, Mom!" She's like, "Listen to this." I'm like, "Isn't it like techno?" And she was like, "No, it's EDM." I'm like, "Okay." It was techno back in my day.
I like Metallica and Korn and like you got to get the.
Brian wants the screaming in the background.
Yeah.
Like, "Ah!"
90s hip hop makes its way into that,
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
classic rock.
Yeah, not a lot of people listening to just classical music. They're just working out. It's you got to have something that's a little bit harder. When you're working out, you can listen to that stuff when you're falling asleep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to set the tempo. So, so with your gym, how many people do you have like as far as clients right now?
I don't know how many clients off the top of my head I have, but I mean, I train about 10, 11 sessions in a row back to back. Monday
And
through-
one-on-one.
Yeah, one-on-one.
No group training.
I do train some husbands and wives together, and,
That's cool.
and a few friends that do partner training, but yeah, just typically one-on-one.
If somebody was going to start working out, like never picked up a weight before, know absolutely nothing about it, where do I start? What would you tell them? Hire you, but
Yeah,
what's the other thing?
yeah, exactly.
Assume they're from out of area.
Yeah, assume they live like 500 miles away and they're listening to this and they're looking for inspiration.
So the way I always take people through, if you've never lifted a weight before, I always go over bench press, squat, and deadlift. Those are powerlifting moves, and I always tell people, I teach them the powerlifting way, how to do things. Not that they want to be a power lifter, right? But because it's going to be the safest way to handle weight for your joints. Because
These are like compound movements.
Compound movements, right? And if some some person can squat 800 pounds not below their knee out, you can not squat 800 but have the same mechanics, because that's going to be the safest way to handle these things for your shoulders and your elbows and your knees. So we go over those forms, and then because a lot of things will branch off of those, right? Whether you're doing a squat, body weight squat, a lunge, all of those will derive from just like this regular barbell squat. And so once we get that down, then I start moving them just kind of through total body workouts, because their body's not going to be able to take the volume of just a whole like leg day or upper body day, right? Then once they start getting less sore and whatnot, then I say, okay, what is exactly that we're really trying to achieve here? What is it that you want to build? Do you want to build your butt? Do you want to build your arms? Obviously, people's programs will look completely different depending on their goal.
So you make goals obtainable. I'm guessing, because people are like, I want to look like a Greek god. You know, so it's like, well, let's start little.
Yes.
Let's see if you can get some muscle on there, and then we'll work
introduce Greek yoga.
Yeah. But I mean, that's probably the hard thing, is setting expectations with people, and like, okay, this is what you can do. And then once we get to that point, then we'll look for your next goal. So it's the baby steps of getting up there, because I'm sure you've dealt with it plenty of times, and tons of trainers and tons of gyms, you know, everybody comes in January, gets their membership. By February, they stop going. And by June, they finally cancel that membership.
Yeah.
And so you get this churn that comes through of, you know, are people doing this because they really want to better themselves? And do they put enough value in themselves to stick with it? So how do you work through some of these people? You probably see the signs. Someone will say, hey, actually, I'm not feeling so hot today, or I've got to do my hair. I got to wash my hair, so I don't know if I'll be able to make it in today. What are the signs that you see when you know that someone is about to fail?
Well, number one, if they're telling me that, it's like, cool, I'm charging you, so that's fine.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, exactly what you're saying is they'll kind of start making excuses or start missing workouts, but then it's my job to, you know, communicate with them. Okay, what's really going on? Are we going too intense? Do we need to back it off? Are we not getting the results that you're wanting here? Why is that? And most of the time it's because of their diet, right? If you're seeing me 1 hour a day, that's 4% of your day, right? So it's not going to affect that much change. And then if you're only working out with me 1 day a week or 2, what are you doing those other 6 or 7, 5 or 6 days a week, right? Yeah. And if you're not doing anything, then I'm just very blunt. I'm like, okay, the 1 day a week with me is not going to really do anything for you. You're going to have to really control your diet, and I need you to be doing something on your own here.
So these are more like check-ins to like, hey, here's what we need to modify for your next week. Not so much, I'm going to hold your hand through life and try to, you know, fix everything for you. You've got to have some motivation. And find it within yourself to meet that expectation for yourself.
I am not a life coach, so you know.
Just full disclaimer.
I mean, you probably had people just burst into tears, and like you've had to probably work through that.
Oh, sure.
A little bit.
And you know, I get to hear one thing I enjoy about my job is just all the people from different walks of life, right? I've trained the CEO of Dave's Killer Bread. I've trained people that work down at the state capitol. And so getting to hear all these backstories. I've trained another guy that survived Vietnam, was Vietnamese and fought for the South, and actually built his own refugee boat to get out of there. So just hearing his stories, I'm like, man, you need to get on a podcast and write a book.
This would be a piece of cake working out, right?
Yeah. So being able to hear the backstories, but then also being able to hear all their I guess problems that they have going on in life. I get to hear it all. Probably just like a hairdresser and a nail person.
Yeah.
But then when I don't want to hear any of that, I just start pushing them harder where they can.
You're like, no talking today.
Yeah.
No talking today.
If you're talking, you're not breathing hard enough.
Exactly.
Is that what our gym coaches used to say to us when we were? If you're talking, you're not working hard enough.
Yeah.
Run.
Right. Exactly. Right.
So staying motivated, hitting plateaus. I mean, those are some of those are mental blocks too, right? I mean, with the plateaus, I mean, physically you can hit a plateau and you've got to figure out a way to break through that. But there's also the mental block. Like if you're benching something and all of a sudden someone comes by and just helps you lift that last little bit up with the finger, that's a mental thing.
It's a mental thing. And sometimes what I will do, if I know they're having a mental thing, I'll misload their weight on purpose. I'll make it heavier. And then tell them that they're lifting lighter.
Oh, okay.
We're not going up this week. So don't worry about it. Just hit this.
I tried doing that at home. It doesn't work for myself. So I need someone else to do that, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's like the thing, you can't tickle yourself, right? So you got to have somebody else.
Everybody's just,
I was just like, wait a minute. You can't. So when somebody comes in for their first workout, do you ease them into it a little bit? It's not like a shock. Okay. So this one. First time he ever took me hiking. I've never gone. I'm just throwing you under the bus for everything. Very first time, never gone hiking before. And he's like, we're going to go hike. We're going to go Smith Rock. And I'm like, okay. Like, I've never hiked before, but let's do it. And he's like, it'll be fine. So we're going up. I cry. Like halfway through, I am bawling. I'm like panting. Have you seen that reel going around with the camel that's sitting there going, yes. And the guy's like, petting. Okay, so that was me.
You were a camel. I'm sure.
No, but that's what I sounded like. And you were like, it's going to be okay. And I was like, why is this so hard? I can't believe it. So he took me up Misery Ridge. Yes. For the first time. Yes.
She was about ready to just roll down the hill.
I was going to jump.
Yeah.
I was just... And I remember somebody being like, we got up there and he was like, yeah, this is her first time. And this person's like, why would you do that to her? And so when he would say, all right, like I would say something about going to work out because we have a gym set up in our shop. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go out there. And he was like, all right, let's do this together. I'm like, no. Because every time we go out there, you want to go like balls to the wall. That's how you work out. And you're just like, rah, like go He-Man mode. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I will cry. And then I will be done. So I'm like, I have my workout time. You have your workout time. And so when the kids now want to work out with them, I'm like, okay, you can't Misery Ridge them. Like you got to ease them in. Otherwise they won't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. And on the same token, I've gone to, I was about 20 or 30 pounds heavier when I went out to a CrossFit type of gym.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, we're going to do it.
I was just telling the story the other day.
Oh, were you? Thanks. And so I show up and it's like, okay, I haven't been working. I mean,
you went with our son.
Yeah. It was like, I got little kids. And so like dad bod super heavy. And then, I show up and like, I haven't worked out in a long time. He's like, okay, let me take you through a fitness test. And about halfway through the fitness test that he's giving at me, I'm like, I got to go throw up. I've never had to throw up from working out before. And I go outside and I heave and then I have to go back in and finish my workout.
Okay, but what were you working out next to when you go outside?
So I don't want to give it away, but this place is out.
Oh, sorry. Never mind.
Yeah. So it's anyway. So it's it was a great gym, but my body told me that why would you do that? And so from that very first one, it totally like derailed me. Like I can't do this, and so I never went back.
Yeah.
And so there is that thing with like easing into certain things. When we work out right now, because we're short in time in the morning. I got to get up. We try to get up super early in the morning, and so like okay, I can commit to I'll walk uphill on the treadmill to get warmed up, and then I can commit to like four exercises, that type of thing. And so if I do that every day, that's manageable. I can't sit there for 2 hours and do like a workout where I'm doing 6-8 sets of something. And then by the time you do it, I don't have, a dad with kids and wife, and that's not manageable for me, but I can set my expectations to a certain level. Mm-hmm. And then if I can commit to doing something every day, mentally, for me, that's what helps, kind of ingrain it as far as something that I just naturally do. Because with me having ADD, I can do that balls to the wall thing for about 2 weeks, and all of a sudden like, oh, what's that over there?
Exactly. Right.
And so my focus shifts, and like, wait a minute, was I supposed to be working out? Oh, that was 2 months ago. So it's like, oh man, now I got to start over.
Yeah.
So that's where you gotta like set your expectations a little bit. I think you've probably had that with some of your clients. Like, I want to do this and that and that. And you're like, wait a minute, let's start, here and kind of work our expectations up a little bit.
Exactly. So to your point about throwing up, I remember working at a corporate gym, and they were in, you try and sign a member up, and they give you the free session, and one of the trainers pushed that console so hard they actually had to pull out the AED, and I was like, wow. Did they sign up with you after that?
Yeah.
So that's terrible. Like, that just shows inexperience. Like, this is your intro to try and show you what personal training is about. And you push this person so hard that they collapse, and they had to pull out the AED.
They're like,
yeah.
Oh, the AED is that
the
what you
AED?
said?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said 80, and I'm like,
sorry.
athletic director of a gym.
No.
So okay, never mind.
Wow,
that's wild.
That's a little hardcore.
Okay, I would have had a completely different reaction if I would have understood that.
So when you talk about they put you through a fitness test, it's like, wow, a test, you're really pushing that person.
You're setting them up to fail.
But if that's what you want, if you're just like, grind me into the ground, then sure. But that's not going to be sustainable, and it's definitely not going to make me want to come back if I throw up on my first day.
Yeah.
So how I always do it is when we go over those exercises, I always say that the first sessions aren't really workouts, they're more lessons. And they build on each other. So I'm going to show you how to do this, and depending on how much time it takes you to learn this technique, then we're going to progress to the next. So I remember I signed a guy up, and before he came to see me, had torn his rotator cuff bench pressing. Very common thing that people do because they're driving through their shoulders and not knowing how to actually engage your chest. So after a session and a half, he still almost kind of had benching, but not really. But I was like, I'll be damned if you tear your rotator cuff, training with me, and or you're working out on your own and doing terrible form, and some trainer comes up to you, he's like, I can really help you with your bench press, and you're like, actually, I train with Ryan, and then I'm like, no. So I want to make sure you have this down.
Yeah.
And that helps negate that soreness because you're learning these movements, right? Some people get really sore just from that. And I'm like, okay, so now I know our fitness level, right? And then I always say the sessions build on each other in the very beginning. So once we go over something, next session, you're going to be my trainer for the first couple minutes of the session. You're going to show me how to do this, right? So
they're going to show you?
They're going to show me. So I know that they know how to do it.
Okay.
And if they're like, I don't remember, this is, okay, we got to go over this because I'm not going to load your spine up with a whole bunch of weight if you can't squat, right?
That's a great approach. I never thought about that.
So yeah,
because you get them for a limited amount of time, and they're off on their own.
Yeah,
just out in the wild.
Just out in the wild. Yeah,
it's like when you teach your kids how to drive a car. You don't drive for them and like, okay, I'll see you next week.
Right.
You say, okay, show me what I just did,
exactly.
But you drive. I'm gonna sit here with you so I can reach over if I need to.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we talked about. Now I want to touch on some of the. I know you're not a nutritionist, but there's macros and what is a baseline of like what people should be like taking in while they're doing some training. Like if they're actually in it for 6 weeks and on, what should they at least be doing as a baseline?
Primarily protein, right? A heavy protein base. I'm going for at least a gram of protein per lean body pound, or at least like 0.8 times your body weight in protein to do that.
Can that be shakes, or do you want actual food protein?
It can be, ideally, right? Supplements are just supposed to supplement your diet. So, but if you work so for example, me, when I'm doing 10 sessions in a row, I don't have time to eat.
Yeah.
And I have seen trainers do that though. I have seen trainers like heat up their meal prep and then be eating as their clients, squatting.
Like you're doing great.
Yeah. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's like they're getting McDonald's or like eating in front of them, right?
So I'll have to do a lot of shakes because that's it. Is it great? It's better than nothing, right? And so we want to try and do primarily protein because that's going to keep you fuller longer, right? Also, thermogenic effect of food. It boosts your metabolism. Have you ever heard like the meat sweats?
Oh, I get those all the time.
Meat, right?
I actually, when I was 20 pounds heavier, I got that a lot.
You don't get them a lot now.
No,
I can't think of the last time you did.
I don't overeat I can't overeat like I was younger because I don't burn through it. I feel it for the next 2 days.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like I can't eat
as
much spicy food anymore. So yeah.
But protein will keep you satiated longer, and it has a higher thermogenic effect, so it'll actually boost your metabolism and again, take more energy to burn than it would something like a simple carb that's just going to burn through you really fast.
Okay.
So protein should be our staple, especially as we get older. We want to make sure we're getting enough into just to sustain muscle mass. Next, we want to have a healthy ratio of fat. We don't want to go too low in fat. You start going too low, so fat is the building blocks of your hormones. So if you start stripping yourself of too much fat, you're going to screw that up. And then carbs are very demonized, but we do need carbs for our brain. That's what it runs off of. And then for working out.
Yeah.
Timing is going to be important. Trying to time your carbs before and after your workout so that they're utilized for that. But yeah.
So when you do like your morning workouts, do you primarily eat after you work out? Is that when you think that's like kind of optimal time to kind of refit?
I try and eat a little bit of carbs before my workout if I'm training super early. I'm not waking up, and I'm not going to wake up like an hour earlier just to get or hour and a half to eat my meal because I want to sleep, right?
Yeah.
So that's when I'll do something like a protein shake and then some simple carbs.
Okay.
And then I'll do some caffeine to help wake me up.
And it just gives you enough fuel just to get through the workout off the carbs, and then you actually eat your real meal to kind of...
Yeah, like an hour or so.
That was a question on.
Sorry. So is there different qualities of protein, like whey versus soy? And is there one you'd recommend that's the optimal choice?
Whey.
Whey?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Why? Whey is a complete protein.
It's animal based.
It's animal based. Yeah.
Okay.
So soy would be like soybean type.
Okay. I didn't know there was a soy protein.
Do you ever recommend a certain one, or is it just pick a tub?
Just pick whatever. So and talking macro. So it's not about what your body. It's not about what the macros you take in. It's going to be what your body digests, right? And so if you're taking protein powder and then your stomach's just wrecked and you feel bloated and stuff, you might have took in 30 grams of protein, but that doesn't mean your body's digesting all of that, right?
Okay.
So this is where digestive enzymes come in, things like bromelain. You ever eat fresh pineapple and you feel your tongue get all raw?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like a lot of people think that's the vitamin C in it. That's not. That's the bromelain, like digesting your
tongue.
starting to break your tongue down. Yeah.
Like acid?
Like acid. Yeah. An enzyme.
And then it feels like
The
sandpaper.
pineapple is eating you.
Oh.
So, but that's fresh pineapple, not pasteurized, because that's all killed out of it when it's pasteurized.
Okay.
So taking that with a protein meal, that's going to help it digest better, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when people always ask me what's the best protein powder to take, I'm not loyal to any brand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, if I'm trying to get about 230 grams of protein in a day. And so when I'm taking shakes, I'm doing about 2 scoops at a time. I cannot afford ones where the scoop's going to be like $2 a scoop or whatnot. So I'm looking for price, and then I'm looking for what's going to digest, what's going to make my stomach feel okay in the end.
And then as far as protein intake, I mean, it's different amounts for both men and women based on like lean body mass, right?
Yeah.
And so like if someone's like 300 pounds, is it 300 pounds of muscle or 300 pounds? It's going to be different.
Lean body mass. If you're 300 pounds, you're not going to be taking in per body pound. It's going to be lean body pound. Yeah.
So how do you know what your lean body pound is?
There's different scales you can get on.
Okay.
So there's a scale. I know there's the professional ones. You can either get like the big tub and they weigh, or like the grip handles. Can do that.
There's like an in-body scan that's like electromagnet or electrobiompedal.
Yeah.
And then there's like a DEXA scan. Then there's like an air displacement one, and then there's the hydrostatic that you're talking about where they dunk you in water.
Air displacement. How does that work out?
I'm not exactly.
Like you jump up and see how long it
No,
takes you to go down.
like one of my clients did it. Like you're getting in this like tube that looks like the Captain America chamber.
Oh, cool.
And then you're blowing out all your air, and then it reads it.
But you don't come out looking like Captain
No,
America.
you don't.
Oh, dang it. Dang it. So protein is just kind of, so for you take 230. That's your goal for every day, and that's based on like chicken, What other type of meats do you focus on?
I try and focus on beef, lean beef. So chicken's just going to be like pure protein, but beef is going to have it's going to be much more micronutrient dense. It's going to
have more of the fats in there.
Yeah, and it's going to have your zinc and your...
So we have somebody else asking on Instagram, do you use supplemental vitamins in conjunction with your diet, or are they even useful in a balanced diet?
If you're getting a balanced diet, then you probably don't need that. And to be able to track your micronutrients, there's a great app, like I'm sure people have heard of, MyFitnessPal, and track there's Chronometer, and that it's just like MyFitnessPal, but it will actually give you a breakdown of your micronutrients of all the foods. So like when you scan...
What's it called?
Chronometer.
Chronometer?
Yeah. Okay. And it's an app, and
I'm gonna look this up right now.
So you also mentioned that, because when you're taking in like you're drinking like a protein shake, you may not be digesting everything that's in there. And so is it the same thing with your normal diet? Are you digesting everything that's in there, or is there something that maybe your body's not breaking down enough and that you're lacking in?
So that question is above my pay grade.
Yeah.
You would definitely want to talk to...
It's like, that's a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. You'd definitely want to talk to a doctor about that, because and that's where blood work would come in, right? Okay. Is you'd want to get blood work and then see, okay, what is my body? What am I lacking in, right? And then, well, I'm taking this in, but I'm really lacking in this, and so. Then a doctor would be able to advise you as far as, okay, you should be taking this or that.
Because I think there's a lot of people that like, I think I've got a pretty good balanced diet, but I'm still going to take all these pills. I got these like men's supplement pack. It has everything in there. I'm just going to rip it open and just take the whole thing. Yeah. And is there anything bad about doing that, or is there any type of thing that you think that is it just like if you get it in there, it's great. If not, you just kind of flush it out anyway.
I mean, so much of that is just like BS marketing scams. Yeah. If you're like a good multivitamin is going to be is great, but then all these things that have proprietary blends in them. If you look on the back, it's like you don't know what's in that.
Isn't it one of the most unregulated industries? Also, the supplement industry.
Yeah, it's not regulated at all, right?
That's crazy.
So they could just pixie dust and say, yeah, this proprietary blend has this, and this, and it's really just like a few sprinkles of that, right? And then where's it being made? Like in this vat in China that's lead filled and whatnot. Yeah. You have no idea.
But you feel great taking it.
Yeah.
That's marketing.
And that's why they rely on these influencers like, well, that guy says he takes it. So, I mean, if he says it, that must be good.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, we got another one. Do you think organic produce and meat are worth the extra charge?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you actually know what's you actually know what's in it, right? Mm-hmm. It's not going to be pumped full of these hormones and other chemicals.
Yeah. It's kind of when we get the turkey for Thanksgiving, it's like, it's this big. It's like, I've seen wild turkeys out in Oregon. They're like that big. So what's the rest of it?
Yeah. What is it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's saline. It's like water, saline water.
Yeah.
And
water. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I was at a grocery store the other day and I was looking at the steaks and one said like, it was the brand of the store and it's like from Argentina. And then this other one was USDA, and I'm like, what the heck? This traveled like halfway across the world to get here. What? Yeah. How are they raising that? I don't know. Yeah. Also, I don't know what's in the USDA, so that that's where
just close your eyes and pick one.
That's where it really helps. Just finding a local farmer and then saying, okay, what are you feeding this?
Yeah, and then they push. I've seen some really neon red, beef patties, and you get the salmon. It's like
salmon, yeah.
So what's the dye that they're using in that? And
exactly,
nothing's safe anymore.
And then you've seen just like farm raised eggs versus factory farmed, right? You can see the
color difference.
The color difference, yeah.
We got chickens, and then when we started getting eggs, and we're like cracking them open, we're like, what? Like looking at the difference between that and it's wild.
Yeah. So you taking eggs too, as far as like your daily type stuff?
Oh yeah, for a while I was just drinking eggs because it was
what?
Yeah.
Just raw.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It doesn't.
I can barely handle them cooked. I can't imagine.
I've seen some of those people like they get like cartons and cartons of eggs, and they will crack them and they'll take the whites and they'll dump the rest.
Yeah.
Do you do that, or do you like?
No. So, I mean, if you're really trying to stay away from the fat, you can do that. But an egg has 6 grams of protein, and 3 of that is in the yolk, and 3 of that is in the white. And the white is just water and protein. So if you're really trying to manipulate your macros, and you say, okay, I need to stay within this, I need to hit this protein number, but I need to stay under this fat, right? Then that's why people will do that. But I used to see pro bodybuilders back in the day that one was talking about he'd eat like 30 egg whites, and I'm like, that's not that much protein. You could just and he would crack them himself, and I'm like, God, that's so much labor. Like,
that's a lot of money too.
I would just drink a protein shake.
That's a lot of money now.
It's a lot of money now.
Yeah.
Eggs used to be really cheap, but now it's liquid gold. You don't get rid of that liquid gold.
So we have that same person asking, which fast food is your top pick on a cheat day?
I love McDonald's cheeseburgers.
Really?
Yeah.
I would not have guessed that.
I will do I will get the McDouble, and then I will just say put Big Mac sauce on it. And then I'm not getting that extra piece of bread in a Big Mac, right? I'll say put lettuce and then Big Mac sauce on it.
Fries or no fries?
I'm not a huge fan of fries.
I don't like McDonald's fries.
I don't really like McDonald's.
There's some fries that are like, oh, I really like that stuff, but McDonald's is too limp. It's just,
exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, I forgot what I was going to ask. I need more protein in my brain.
So, as you grow your business, I assume right now you're are you maxed out with clients right now?
I'm pretty maxed out with clients. I'm, a slow week would be about 45 sessions a week, and then a topped out week would be 60 plus hour-long sessions a week. Yeah.
So what's your next step as far as your growth, as far as a trainer? Do you just want to this is your pinnacle right now, as far as I want to maintain these clients. I want to get a bigger space. I want new equipment. What's your dream right now?
Just find top quality trainers. But so I hire independent contractors, and I have a few working for me, and then I've had a few cycle through, but it's hard to find people that are, number one, really qualified, and then number two, that actually have the drive to go out there and build their own business. I remember when I left 24 Hour Fitness, all we do at most corporate jobs is you sit there and commiserate with everybody about how much this job sucks, and right, and if I had my gym, it'd be better, right?
Yeah.
And I remember opening up my gym, and then there was actually a trainer who lived in apartments directly across the street from my gym. So I'm like, hey, I opened up my gym. Let's do this. This is what we talked about.
Yeah.
And the trainer's like, well, how do you get your clients? And I'm like, how do you think? Like, you got to go out there and market yourself, right? Yeah. You got to go to find them. And I'm like, oh, I don't think that's for me. I'm like, hey, never say anything bad about that corporate job ever again, because you're choosing to be there.
Yeah.
Right. So finding people that actually really hustle and get out there, but it's easy. It's easier at a corporate gym because you're in a fishbowl, and you'll have a manager whose job is to hand you clients, right?
Yeah.
But I came through a time where certain people got favored more than others, and to where I had to really go out on the floor and talk to people, and in the long run that helped me out.
Awesome. So, how do people get a hold of you? And you're on social media? You're on Instagram and
So my website is earnthoseCarbs.com.
Oh, cool.
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
Seems like an expensive website to get.
No. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because and I'm not demonizing carbs, but carbs are all the great stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's all the fun stuff.
It's all the fun stuff.
Yeah.
So earnthoseCarbs.com is my website, and or valleystrengthandfitness.com is, and they redirect to each other. And then my on Instagram it's just Valley Strength and Fitness. My personal page is my personal Instagram is Jim Jones, GYM Jones, and
I was like, there's a story here. I was thinking JIM. Never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind. Very literal.
And then on Facebook I'm Valley Strength and Fitness.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you're doing well now, since you moved past the early part of your career with this, and I hope great success with you, and kind of moving forward and getting those good trainers in so they can give you a day off.
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody wants to have.
And that you get best gym 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Best gym in Happy Valley.
Yeah.
best gym in Happy Valley. I
All
like
right.
it.
Well, Ryan, thank you for coming in and kind of explaining your backstory and giving us a little down of how a personal trainer operates, and what it's like, to be in your shoes a little bit. So thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right.